ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Okay. So last time we had seen only one verse, I think. Did we see the 8th verse last time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
In fact, only the 8th verse.
Nine.
9 also is
Nine.
okay. Okay.
ये ले लूं मैं फिर अब बाहर बैठो
So any questions on that, or we saw last class quite elaborately about a few issues. Okay. Jiva Srishti, Ishvara Srishti, the whole thing. Okay. Okay. So ready to go ahead? Okay. You're ready to go ahead, let us see. Now, the next verse, the 10th verse, starts with a Purapaksha. And the answer is also given in the same verse. Okay. वाच्य भेदा तु तद्भेदः कल्प्यो वाचो हि तत् उच्यते त्रयं तु ते तत्ततः प्रोक्तं रूपं नाम च कर्म च.
Can't hear you, Swamiji.
Can't hear me?
Suddenly. Now I can again. In between it had gone. Yeah, I can't hear you or see you.
I'm not speaking until now. You will hear me when I speak.
Yeah, we can.
I couldn't even see you, that's why.
Anything. Since the Purvapaksha has got various dimensions to it, so be careful, okay? Vachya Beda tu Tad Beda. There are two different words, he says. Vak Beda. Atma Brahman. Okay? Kalpyo Vachyo hi taduchyate. Okay? Therefore, if you understand the word and its meaning, Brahman, Atma, there must be two things. Because they are not synonymous. The root meaning of both are different. Therefore, they are not synonymous. Not being synonymous, different words should mean different entities. Number one. Okay. Trayam tveta tata proktam rupam nama cha karma cha. Not only that, the Vedas use words denoting form, name, action, etc. Hindu Upanishad, in this thing itself, you will find, because it's normal language. In normal language, when words are used, all these will come into play. If they are synonymous, accepted. Okay? If they are synonymous, accepted. But Atma and Brahman is not presented as synonymous. They are not synonymous. Like Jalam and water, which in different language, but they are synonymous. Jal or Pani in Hindi synonymous words. But Atma and Brahman is not presented like that. Okay. Pratyegatma, Antaratma, etc. That's how it is presented. And Brahmana Satyajnanam Anantaram Jagat Karanatvam, etc. Therefore, words, if you go by the grammatical meaning, they are not synonymous. Plus, there are other meanings also coming in the Veda itself for different words are used. If different words are used, that means there should be different things. No? A karma is mentioned. Upasana is mentioned. Who is to do the upasana mentioned. Even if you are looking at the Upanishad section like Taittiriya, etc., the Guru's advice at the passing out, Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara, etc. That means what? Na Advaita Siddhi. If you are saying Shabda Pramanam, etc., Advaita Siddhi doesn't take place. Where is Advaita Siddhi here? Different words, different object, different entities, different function. Because previously what had he ended? Moksha Eka Paratvam, na? If you look at the 9th verse, what we had mentioned, okay, Nyayam Vakyartha Pratipattihi. There is only one thing to be known. That's how he had started, concluded the last verse. Now he says there are many things in your own Upanishads. There are many things in your own Upanishad. Therefore, Advaita Siddhi is not the Tatparya of the Upanishad. Look at it, he is not bringing an outside argument. An argument challenging your understanding from Sankhya, Tarka, etc. He is talking about your own Upanishad and your own Vakyas, your own logic. Okay? That's what is coming in. Okay? So whatever you have used is coming in. Yeah. Whatever you have used alone is coming in. Is the Purva-paksha argument clear? Either nod your head, say yes, put up a thumb to indicate, okay, how do I know?
Yes, no.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yes.
So that means what? Since your pramana is, just to sum up, since your pramana is made of words, Shabda Pramana made of words, Atma and Brahman are not synonymous, and there are words dealing with different things in the Upanishad. That means there are different entities. Simple argument, but an important one. Okay. And he answers this with one argument. Okay. Asad etat tatrayam tasmad अन्योन्येन हि कल्पितं कृतो वर्णः यथा शब्दात् श्रुतो अन्यत्र धियो वही दृष्टं चापि यथा रूपं बुद्धेः शब्दया कल्प्यते एवं एतज्जगत् सर्वं भ्रान्ति बुद्धि विकल्पितम्. He says, Etat Jagat Sarvam Bhranti Buddhi Kalpitam. Etat Jagat Sarvam Bhranti Buddhi Kalpitam. Why do you say that? He says, Asad Etat Trayam Tasma. Okay. Asadetantrayam, they are all interdependent. Okay? They are all interdependent. Why? You say pot, word, for which there is a form, pot. You say clay, object, for which there is an object, clay. Now, are there two entities, clay and pot?
No. No, it's one.
Pot is only conceptual. Swamiji, pot is not conceptual. I have a pot in my hand. Yeah, but prove to me that it is independent of clay or independent of the substance. Don't say, I have a metal pot. You are talking independent of the substance. Okay. Therefore, he says, you have various names dealing with various rupam, various forms. Various forms do not establish separate entities. Because ekam sat, one existence. Asad etat trayam, he says. Everything else is asad. What can a shabda reveal? As I said, nama rupaha, a name for a form. Gunaha, qualities. Qualities are based on the form anyway or on the substance. Either way, it is dependent entity. Kriya, function. Function is based on form. Form itself is mithya. Then how can a function based on a mithya form become real? They are vyavahara yogyas, but they are not real entities. Okay? Heart of good design. Form has to follow function. Okay? Form follows function. That's the basic principle. Okay? Now, form has to follow the function for which it is made. If it is made for that function, then since the form is dependent on substance and function is dependent on the form, it becomes equally mithya. Sambandha, relationships. Relationship is between two forms. Relationship is not between content and form.
Yeah.
What is the relationship between clay and pot? Two pots can have a relationship. Two entities can have a relationship. Two forms can have a relationship. But since it is based on forms, form is mithya, sambandha also becomes mithya. Any sambandha you take. Swamiji, this is Vedic sambandha. I have had a Vedic marriage. We kept Agni as Sakshi and went round and round it. Round and round the mulberry bush. Itna hai na? So what is the big thing about it? Yeah, for Vyavahara it is big, I accept. For Vyavahara it is great. That's why until death do us part is a good statement to make. Though talking about death in a nice, happy event is not exactly a good thing to do. It is called apashabda. Let this couple be together until death do us part. A nice thing. But don't talk about death at marriage day. That's apashabda. That's why we don't say it. Swamiji, we don't say it. 7 janam ke liye we are together. 7 जन्म के लिए बोर नहीं हो जाएगा क्या? People find 1 janam too much. Okay, one janam itself is too much. What are you talking about? 7 janams? Even if it is 7 janams, okay, not the same body, not the same person. Over the last 10 years, people have changed so much. Why? Last 1 year, people have changed so much. The whole lockdown and isolation experience, people have changed so much in 1 year. Then what are you talking about 7 lifetimes? The same person? Even if that is true. Not the same. Changing entities. Nitya.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Swamiji?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yeah, so Anyo and Anya we use only when it's between two forms, because then there is interdependence, because the substance is always independent
Yeah.
of the form.
So here we are talking of only at the
Jiva.
Jiva. Correct. Here we are talking at the Jiva level, no? Sambandha is at the Jiva level. When you are talking marriage, you are talking about the Sambandha that exists. When you are using a word, what does it reveal? Nama, Rupa, Guna, Kriya, Sambandha. When you say husband, when you say wife, the word is revealing a relationship. The word is not revealing an entity. There is no entity called wife. Then she'll have to be the wife for everyone. No. She's wife only to this guy. Correct? There is no the wife or the husband. My wife, my husband. His wife, his husband, her husband. Sambandha, relationship. So jati, guna, jati, group. It reveals group also. Group is what? Not necessarily entities. Group of pots, meaning group of form. All these are flower pots. Group of flower pots called jati. Jati means group. Okay. A set. You define the parameters of the set and you can make jatis. You can make n number of jatis. You make a set. Like your yellow pages in your dictionaries, in your directories, phone directories. Once upon a time you used to have phone directories. Yellow pages. Even carpenters, all the carpenters are listed together. All the electricians are listed together. Jati, group. Function based division, nationality based division become one jati. You can have any, you can create any set you want. You just have to define the parameters of that set. That's it. Jati. All Namarupa. You may hear some disturbances because there is a construction work going on in the next plot. Okay. Some heavy machinery is being unloaded there. Okay. It won't be there tomorrow, next class. Okay. This is one of the hassles of Bombay. And I can't mute myself and then teach you all. Okay. It's very rare that there is a disturbance in my environment. I've managed to handle most of the disturbances, but this is beyond control. Though Sunday normally they don't work, today they have to deposit, they have to dump some equipment there. Okay, so all these are what? Nama Rupa, Mithya. Therefore, just because two words are used doesn't mean there are two entities. One and the same entity, you can have multiple words. Let us say someone's name. Okay. Mishra. One name. There's no Mishra here, that's why I'm using that name. Mishra. One person. Name, form. Okay, but there are many Mishras, Jati. If I say he is honest, hardworking, etc., Guna. He is an engineer, function. He is a husband, Sambandha. All these words used for one and the same entity. It doesn't is Mr. Mishra, the engineer, different from the husband, different from the others? Roles. One entity. Now you know why last class I spent so much of time on talking about roles, person, etc. Falguni searched out that book also and put it on the group. Personhood, yes. She has put it on the book. Or put it on the group, the book on the group. See, we created a Jati, Bandra class. So Jati is not caste, don't translate it as caste, okay? Group. So, all these words need not mean separate entities. Need not mean separate entities. Because for one and the same person, you are using so many things. Therefore, he says, Krita Varnaha Yatha Shabdat Uchyate Shabdat Chato Anyatra Diyo Bahi. You have a concept inside which you are projecting outside. You are looking at that person, the person there, her husband, because you know that that knowledge is inside, you have projected it there. He is tall. You have an understanding of height. What is considered tall? It's a relative term. In India, anyone over 5 feet 8 inches is considered tall. Between 5'8" and 5'6" is considered average height, medium height. But if you go to USA, 5 feet 8 and below is considered short. For a man, 5 feet 8 and below is considered short. Below 5'6" is considered very short. Almost as though you are at a disadvantage. If you are 6 foot in India, oh my God, you are very tall. In USA, there is middling height, middling tall. To be considered tall, you have to be over 6 feet, like our friend Karthik here. Yeah. You have to be over 6 feet to be considered tall, not otherwise. Relative terms, conceptual, that's what I am talking about. That concept standard that you have inside, projected outside, as though there is an entity. Pot, concept, projected outside onto clay, entity. Kurta. Nowadays, Americans and Australians are familiar with this dress. In the 60s, when Swami Chinmayanji went abroad with this dress, they said, "What type of shirt are you wearing?" They were called Guru shirts after that. These are the shirts Gurus wear. In India, every other person wears this. Concept, no entity. In fact, there was a lady in USA who, when Swami Vivekananda went there, he asked, "Why can't you wear normal clothes?" This is normal for me. She won't ask the padri, her padri, why don't you wear normal clothes? Ideas inside projected outside. That's all I'm saying. Ideas inside projected outside. What is normal, what is not. Your whole life is made up of this only. Gandhiji went in his half dhoti to meet the queen. He was asked, didn't you feel like wearing some more clothes when you were meeting the queen? He said, she had enough for both of us. She had enough clothes for both of us. Conceptual. And Gandhiji knew the power of concepts very well. That's why he dressed like that. Your whole functioning life is driven by concepts. Therefore, you think they are realities. Because your functioning life is driven by concepts, you think a concept is a reality. It's only a functioning reality. The Ahankara itself is a concept. That's why I deliberately use the term conceptual self. It's a concept you have about yourself. So it will be easier for you to dismiss it. Okay, therefore he says, Dachutodiyavahi Ishtam chapi yatha rupam buddhehe shabdaya kalpate. Therefore what he says, Ishtam chapi yatha rupam. And these things are very conducive for you, ishtam for you. Why? Because your functioning is based on that. Therefore, buddhehe shabdaya kalpate. Because you have to transact, you have to function, buddhaya kalpate. Valid. Functionally valid, all of them. Nobody is denying your functional validity. Okay. Evam etat jagat sarvam bhranti buddhi. There is nothing wrong in having a concept of a thing for functioning purposes as long as you know the reality. This is where the difference comes in. If you know the reality, there is no problem, there is no issue. Because you understand, there is a functioning concept. As long as you know this conceptual being is only for the sake of functioning, and there is a reality beyond that. There is a content of that. If you know that, no amount of concepts is an issue. But if you don't know the reality, the concepts will be taken as reality, and that is the problem. Therefore he says, Bhranti matram jagat sarvam. Okay? Bhranti buddhi vikalpitam. Jagat sarvam bhranti buddhi vikalpitam. Because we are taking all of them as a reality. All of them is taken as realities. Instead of recognizing them as just concepts, they are taken as though they are realities. Yesterday's class I gave an example. Akshay Tritiya around the corner. Not really around the corner, thoda time hai. Akshay Tritiya has been pushed off to May 15th or something this time. Half of the Indian population goes out to buy gold. They don't buy gold, they buy ornaments and come. If you are buying gold, you buy a chunk of gold and come. Buy a biscuit and come. Because since chunk is not available, because weight, standardization, etc. becomes difficult, therefore they again function. Therefore they made it into a biscuit form. Though in your Reserve Bank, etc., they are stored as bars. But that is too much for a human being to buy a bar of gold. 1 kilo. So you should be buying a biscuit and coming home. Do you do that? No. Everyone buys ornaments. So you bought ornament for 30,000. And when you go to back to sell it to the guy back next year, he gives you only 20,000 for it. Well, ma'am, making charges. This is only 18 carat. This is only... Because your attention was on the form, you are missing out on that money. His attention is on the reality. His attention is on the reality. Your attention is on the form. If you know the reality, any amount of concepts, nama, rupa, guna, kriya, sambandha is not a problem. What is the problem? They are all mithya, so what does it make? What difference does it make? Because that's all that is there. If you don't know the realities, it's okay to give some importance to the form. Because functioning, that much importance has to be given, not more than that. But you center your life around that form. My way of doing things. This is the way. Who decided that? Democracy is dead in India. Why? Because my party lost. It's a democracy. Some have to win, some have to lose. Yeah. Bound to be. It's a function. They're taken as realities. It's what you think. Doesn't mean it is fact outside. Functionally also it is not factual. That is why we have the three divisions very clearly. Paramarthikam, that is absolute reality, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahman, nothing else. That is the major focus of Vedanta. To understand that, you have Vyavaharika, a functional reality necessary to understand the truth. Because you need a relationship with a guru and a pramana. Guru is a relationship, okay? Someone came to me once. स्वामी जी, मैं आपको हमारा गुरु बनाना चाहती हूँ. He should have said, I want to be your student. Your Shishya. That's what he should have said. No, I want to make you my guru. Okay, I can understand. ठीक है, I said, come to my class. No, Swamiji, I don't want to come to your class. I just want you to be my guru. How is that possible? How is that possible? You sit in a class, and if you think you are my student, then I become your teacher. Because everyone who comes and sits in a class need not take me as a teacher. I mean, as a guru. He can take me as one of the acharyas who are teaching. Or he can say no. Whatever, up to you. So, for Vyavahara, now this type of a relationship becomes important. Some importance is there. Some importance. This Vyavahara. Sambandha between husband and wife. Vyavahara is Satyam. It has got some importance. You have to give it that importance. How can you not give it that importance? समझिए how long in our culture? In our culture, there are 7 conditions where the relationship is nullified. And one of them is sannyasa. If one person takes the sannyasa, the relationship is nullified, okay? You don't have to have separate divorce. It's considered divorce. I think legally you may need a divorce because that's the law of the land. I think Kavita will know that better. Okay. So, for the nullification of the relationship, why? Because it's Vyavahara, transactional. It will work under certain conditions, won't work under certain other conditions. So, there is a certain importance given to it. But only that much. And even in Vyavahara, the problem in the society is superimposing the pratibhasika, the subjective, on the Vyavahara. So much so that many philosophers say, as far as transaction is concerned, there is no reality, there are only perceptions. I tend to agree with them. Just perception. That's why you have ideas of it is fair, not fair. What is fair, not fair? Who decides? If you have an agreement, a stated agreement between both, I can understand that. But a one-sided demand, if it is not fulfilled, there is nothing like fair or unfair in it. But it's understood, no? What is understood? Nothing is understood. That person's understanding is different, your understanding is different. So if there are certain things have been stated and discussed, then there is something. And if it comes to a relationship, there are other complications. Since most of the people I can see are women here, okay, woman will ask for something and the man will say yes. Why? He wants to get onto her good books, therefore he will say yes. He can't keep it up. See, stated written, yeah, his subjectivity came into the picture. Your subjectivity came into the picture. That's why in all marriage there will be fights. So this superimposition of the subjective on the Vyavaharikam. For a student of Vedanta, that's why it's important to be objective. See where my subjectivity is, where functional facts are. Called Vairagya in other terms. Viveka and Vairagya go together. That becomes a qualification. And the problem is we all think we are objective.
Swamiji, can I ask a question?
Shoot.
So for a wise person, there will be no subjectivity ever. Like there can be subjectivity sometimes, or like how it will.
There is a lot of
Or
subjectivity.
the wise person is always a.
No, there is a lot of subjectivity in a wise person. Only thing is he recognizes various subjectivity and various objectivity. He recognizes the difference. Yeah, of course, it's subjective. When I say I like coffee more than tea, there is a subjectivity coming in. No? Isn't it? I mean, what you like, your preferences are about subjectivity. Yeah. When the wise person says, I love sweets, there is subjectivity. That's a subjective desire. Even in a perception of a fact, there can be subjectivity sometimes. Why? Because a wise person is not supposed to know everything about Vyavahara. No person can know everything. But if facts are pointed out, the wise person has no problem in dropping that subjectivity. Why? Objective. अच्छा ऐसा है, ठीक है, I'll correct myself, okay? I was wrong when I said that. No ego issues in saying that. Yeah. No ego issues. But the wise person, generally, if you are a Vedanta teacher and a wise person, you are very good at logic. So it may take some time to convince a guy. Yeah, because he will ask you, he will present you with questions, arguments. How do you answer this? How do you answer that? That's how you arrive at a fact. No? Well, Viveka involves that. Viveka involves that. Yeah. Like one teacher I studied from in the Himalayas told me, अरे चंद्र तो सूर्य से बड़ा है, शास्त्र में तो लिखा है, पुराणों में लिखा है, चंद्र सूर्य से बड़ा है. So I told him, Swamiji, that is not scientifically true. विज्ञान के बात ऐसा है. वो तो विज्ञान के बात है ना, हम लोग शास्त्र मानते हैं. So I said, I thought for a second, I said, Swamiji, वो तो चंद्रलोक और सूर्यलोक के बात कर रहा है. In the Shastra, what is talked about is Chandraloka and Suryaloka. ये तो अपना भूलोक का चंद्र और सूर्य है. So the wise man said, हाँ ब्रह्मचारी जी बराबर बोला, आप सही बोला, आप सही बोला. वो तो लोक के बात करता है, ये तो अपना भूलोक. तो विज्ञान सही रहेगा यहाँ. A man who has never been exposed to modern science. But look at his objectivity when he says that. That's correct. He can drop that argument because he sees the argument. That doesn't mean tomorrow you argue with me on some political point and say I should drop the argument, okay? I will be a lot more objective than all of you are. Swamiji, you are not subjective? Of course I am subjective. I have my subjectivity. And I am aware of them. Yeah. So there is where the difference comes. A wise person will have subjectivity. My old story ना, आज का पंजाबन महात्मा, समझी क्या खाएगा? पराठा खाएगा क्या? दाल चावल खाएगा. अरे जब पराठा खा सकता है, दाल चावल क्यों खाएगा? समझिए, चावल के साथ सांबार मिलता है. सांबार वो इमली डाल के पेट में गड़बड़ कर देता है. They are not used to eating tamarind. The Punjaban Mahatma I am talking about. दूध पिएगा क्या? चाय पिएगा. अरे जब दूध पी सकता है, चाय क्यों पीना है? That's those cultural things that are there. That's subjectivity. Not a problem for him. Where is that a problem? That type of subjectivity is not an issue because they recognize it. And as a norm anyway, when you are living on Bhiksha, you don't have tea or this or anything anyway. For someone who likes tea and things like that, like me, for years I lived on Bhiksha. Where tea? Tea would be given. They will give you some tea leaves and jaggery in the kshetra. When? November, December, January, these 3 months you will get. Why? ठंड बहुत रहता है, इसके लिए साधु लोग को थोड़ा ये भी दे देगा. If somebody has given a donation for that. But I was lucky because there was some sort of an ashram functioning there. And Puja Swamiji would regularly send some money to run their ashram. So Shuddhananda thought, अरे ये 3 ब्रह्मचारी लोग हैं यहाँ. So he told me, एक stove है इधर, which we are not using. There is a stove here. Okay, and I'll give you some milk powder, tea leaves, and some sugar. I said, Swamiji, धन्य हो आप. But ask Kavita, when we go on treks and everything like that, in a city, first thing you take is a cup of tea in the morning. But on a trek, where you take tea? Extra luggage, extra load to carry. Don't carry tea and coffee. Extra load, junket. गरम पानी से काम चलेगा. So there is subjectivity, but as long as you can recognize it and deal with it, there is no issue. And this is true for everyone, not only the wise person. If you can recognize your subjectivity and deal with it, one point is, in dealing with this, it's important, that's why I'm spending some time on it, is not to hold on to your opinions in your way of thinking. Not to hold on to it rigid. I'd rather be right than happy. Not healthy. Because we hold on. You may be convinced you're right, but there is more than one right way of doing a thing. Na? In Vyavahara and transaction, there is more than one right way of doing a thing. It is not one right and everything else wrong. Understand that. You'll be a happier person in Vyavahara. Otherwise, you'll become rigid. All orthodoxy, rigidity, and all comes from here. This is only right way, everything else is wrong. Yeah, if it is obviously right and wrong, you choose the right. But understand, there are more than one right ways. Kartum shakyam, akartum shakyam, anyathava kartum shakyam. Yeah. If you recognize that, you will not hold on to your ideas and opinions till the end of the world. You know? Because functioning with people, family, teams, society, etc., involves some amount of give and take in these things. Worse to say, I am a man of principles. Yeah, okay, you are a man of principles. So, principles are universal. That's why they are called principles. What you are talking about is one particular way of doing things. There is no principle there. Principle is moksha. Okay. Fine. Okay. Principle you are going for is moksha. For that, Shabda Pramanam. Okay. Fine. Lifestyles. Sannyasa Karma Yoga. Fine. In Sannyasa there is variety or not? In Karma Yoga there is varieties or lifestyles or not there? How many lifestyles are there within sannyasa? Swamiji, what are the rules for sannyasa? Giving up all rules. Okay, I at least seem modern from a liberal background. So some of my students doubt, are you really liberal? Yeah, I had a very liberal background. Come on, yaar, I was a sailor, sailed around the world. What can get more liberal than that? So, liberal background. So, me saying something like this is acceptable to people. So, some people whom I know went to Guru Shraddhanandji, Vrindavan Wale. Okay? Go an ashram in Vrindavan and Haridwar. Traditional guy. And ask them. Swamiji, some of my students are becoming vanaprasis now. Therefore, उसके लिए कुछ विधि या संस्कार है? You know what he told them? जितना विधि कम रखता है उतना अच्छा है. How many rules you keep less, that is so much the better. Live by principles, not by rules. Okay. We are not even living by rules. We are living by what we think is right here, and nothing else is right. What is right? You know? Honesty, integrity, love, compassion, justice. These are universals. Live by that. Dharma. Live by dharma. Don't reduce dharma to rules. Though in a functioning society, the government has to make rules and you have to follow them. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Otherwise, you will have chaos. Why? Everyone cannot interpret dharma. The masses can never interpret dharma properly. Therefore, rules are good. Some rules. That's why you have a judicial system that can evaluate those rules and see where exceptions have to be made. A wrong arrest can be done. So, you have a judicial system to evaluate and correct it. Checks and balances. When you have rules, you will need that. We as students of Vedanta can live by principles. We are more thinkers. You know this thing. We can live by more principles. But don't look at the masses and say all of them are not living, can't understand principles. Okay. I have mentioned this in the class. This happened long before I took the robes, more than 20 years ago. I was at the Chembur railway station. There is a newspaper seller there. I wanted to pick up a copy of something which is not regularly delivered at home. So I was picking up that. So there was a young boy on top of on the roof, clearing it up, and one twig fell on a customer. It's small little twig, this long, 2 inches, but it had some dust in it, which should go if you just flick it away. That dust will go. This person got angry. Understandable. So the boy above said, sorry. But this guy's anger was not mollified. He was going on ranting and raving. वो पुलिस स्टेशन है, हम उनको पुलिस स्टेशन में लेके जाएगा, ये जाएगा. कौन है ये लड़का? And that owner of the shop said, साहब, मेरा बेटा है वो माफ़ी मांगा, हम भी माफ़ी मांगता है आपसे. But the guy was still not mollified. He said, I will close down the shop. I am going to go and complain to the police. So the shop owner folded his hands and said, साहब, कर लो. आपके मन को कुछ शांति मिलेगा. Complain कर दो, आपके मन को शांति मिलेगा, हम खुश होएगा. He understood that principle, that this guy, all the psychological reason behind that made him so angry. He knew that this guy was functioning with a pressure inside, and the thing of validating that also. Uneducated man. He is educated, semi-literate. He can make out what the different papers are. That's all. Semi-literate man. I said, wow. This guy understands psychology much better than many of the psychologists I know. Because the psychologists are very good in doing therapy. Some of the psychologists, many, not all. But in their personal lives, they go haywire. This guy is functioning like that. He is being threatened and he is not responding with anger. He is responding with compassion. So, don't say the masses cannot understand. That will be a subjectivity coming from your educated background. Yeah.
Swamiji,
Yeah?
I have something to add here.
Yes, Falguni.
here I'm in Goa. So our neighbor has he runs the bus, and there is a bus driver. So during COVID, the bus did not fly. Correct.
Yeah.
So this man samne se he's telling to the owner that since you are not going to get money from because the bus is not flying, so no customers are going to pay. So you are not going to get money. So you also don't pay my salary to me.
Wow. Wow. Which employee will ever function like that?
Yes, ma'am. I met him and I said, what a
Attitude,
simple
yeah.
man and what an understanding
Yeah.
he has.
What an
He
attitude.
said you have to pay the loan for this bus.
Yeah.
So you will have no money, so you have to pay the loan, so you don't pay me my salary.
Yeah. Of course, he must have found some alternative source of income because he has to live. But
Yeah.
whatever, who will say no to a salary that somebody is offering?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I mean, we are cribbing about pay cuts. The educated masses are cribbing about pay cuts because many companies did have to have a pay cut. Many of us accepted it very gracefully. I know my students; they accepted it very gracefully without a thought. But some are cribbing. Some people I know, not students, but are also cribbing about it. And here is again a person with no great education telling the boss, you have loans, etc. Your load is more than mine, therefore don't pay me my salary. Wow. So don't take the masses for granted also. Okay. If you're taking them for granted, that comes from our educated bias. Now, this may not be the general standard for all masses, that's okay, but don't take them for granted because there will be one character who will always surprise you. This recognition brings about a natural sense of humility in all of us. Manitvam will not be there if you recognize this. The value of amanitvam. पढ़ा है ना कभी? Years ago when we first started, amanitvam adampitvam ahimsa kshantirarjavam acharya upasanam saucham stairyam atma vinigraha, the whole list 21. Automatically
From the
this will
Bhagavad
come.
Gita.
Yeah, automatically this will come in. Amanitvam will come in because manitvam is I am educated, which is good. You are educated, that's a good thing. Yeah. You have a doctorate, great. But that guy showed more compassion than this doctorate in psychology. In life, when it concerned him, not when it's concerning a client and you're dealing with their life, not my life. I'm out of the picture. There you can show a lot of compassion. But when I am put into the equation, okay, so there is where all these things will come in. Therefore he says, Bhranti Buddhi Vikalpitam. The entire world is only set up by Ajnanam, he says. Mula Vidya, Maya Shakti, the whole world is set up. Manifest names and forms out of one consciousness. And because you don't know that one consciousness that I am, you take all these as real. Then there will be what is functionally real, what is subjectively real. Both will come into the picture. And both are so totally mixed up. Therefore, for the student, first level is that. This mixing up have viveka and have objectivity, vairagya. Then that mind you bring to Vedanta, you will understand. And some Shraddha, etc. also necessary because it's a guru's job to dismiss some of your subjectivity. If it is there, he has to dismiss it, part of the game. Otherwise, he is not a guru. Otherwise, he is a politician. A guru is not supposed to be a politician. At least when he is playing the role of a guru. Okay. ठीक है, you are fine. If you are not fine, tell it. In gurus, even when they play the role of a politician, will tell things as it is. Okay, won't hesitate. Won't hesitate. Though I personally don't think guru should get into politics. Personally don't think. But it is an individual right. If your matha or thing has that sampradaya, you can get into it. That's that tradition. How can you make 100% rules? Blanket rules you can't make. You can only make guidelines, principles. Okay. Then therefore he says, okay, continues that. Asad etat tato yuktam satchin matra na kalpitam vedaschapi sa evadyaha vedam cha anyat yut kalpitam. Therefore asad etat tataha yuktam. Therefore it is yuktam, it's logical, it is proper to take all this as asad. Asad meaning mithya. Here asad is used in the sense of mithya, as mithya. Satchin matram na kalpitam. What is not kalpitam is Satchidananda, yourself. Existence consciousness is not kalpitam. In fact, because you miss it, all this kalpitam becomes fact. All this masquerades as facts because the reality is not known. Therefore, the kalpitam masquerades as real. Okay, kalpitam. Vedaschapi sa eva adhya vidyam cha anyattu kalpitam. Translation में थोड़ा गड़बड़ है, okay? Vedaschapi sa eva adhya. The Veda is also, this is the first thing to be known. This is the Adhyam in sense the only thing to be known. The whole Veda, what is it? What is it meant to be known? This alone. Cha anyattu kalpitam. When the Veda talks about something else, that is dealing with the kalpita realities. Because the Veda they talk other things also. Remember, it talks about fourfold purusharthas. Dharmartha kama, first portion. All that is kalpitam. But people need to grow. People need to grow. Therefore, in consonance, in harmony with your kalpanas, avidya based kalpanas, because of avidya based kalpanas of your own ahankara, you have this thing about artha and kama. Therefore, the Veda helps you fulfill it. So you will see the limitations of that also. And it gives dharma as a base, because if all this is there, then you need a base for functioning. And that base has to be dharma. There cannot be anything else. Is dharma absolute? No. It's relative to the kalpana. It's just by desha, kala, vayo, avastha, etc. All principles, all rules of dharma are like that. Why? Because dealing with kalpitam. That's why you will find Veda making a statement. Ahimsa paramo dharma. Himso dharma tataivacha. The second part of that verse. Himso dharma tata. For the sake of dharma, himsa also should be considered ahimsa. Why? Because I don't know, in the last 50 years, 70 years, this ahimsa is overplayed in India. You show me one avatara of Ishvara among the Dashavataras, human avatars, after Narasimha onwards. Okay. From Parashurama onwards. Who did not carry weapons or went to war. Show me one. All avatars are meant for dharma samsthanaparthaya, by establishing dharma. Show me one avatar. Did Rama go to Ravana with ahimsa, with folded hands, says, give me back my wife? Vibhishana tried it and he got kicked out. Vibhishana tried and he got kicked out of the empire and he had to go to Rama.
Swamiji, I have one question.
Yeah?
What about Vamana Avatara then? He didn't carry-
What is?
Vamana Avatara.
What ahankara?
Vamana Avatara, Bhikshu.
Vamana avatara, violence was not there. Which court of law will accept when you ask for the boon 3 of my paces? 3 paces of the Vamana. But when you took it, it was 3 paces of the Vishwarupa. What are you talking? Any court of law will sustain that as a correct deal. It will be breach of contract. But Mahabali understood. My ahankara is leading to my downfall, therefore I give my head for the 3rd step. The liberals who criticize that will not understand it. Mahabali understood. Rama, Krishna, all of them. They carried arms. This ahimsa thing is overplayed. Yeah, it is necessary. You will not hurt people consciously. Ahimsa is a value. Of course, it's a value. Don't make it absolute. That's exactly why that statement in the Mahabharata is qualified statement. Ahimsa paramo dharma, himso dharma tataiva cha. Very clearly mentioned. It is not warmongering. It's not warmongering. If you don't understand dharma as universal, you will never get it. Then it will become warmongering. Anyway, I don't want to go into that part of it, but understanding. Therefore, he says, Vedaschapi eva adya. So, even the Veda is talking like from the standpoint of Vyavahara in the first section, Dharmartha, for the sake of Dharmartha Kama. But why is it talking about Dharmartha Kama? So that you can grow when you do it as Nishkama Karma, meaning as Karma Yoga Buddhya, Ishwararpanam Prasada Buddhya, when you do all those same things, when you pursue Dharmartha Kama with the spirit of Karma Yoga, you will grow to be able to come to moksha. Therefore, that is a Parama Purusha. That is presented as a Parama Purushartha, as a superior Purushartha. The only thing worth really having. Not that others are not worth having. Others are worth having because you need growth. Without growth, you cannot come to moksha. You can come, but your understanding will be limited. Your understanding and owning up definitely will be limited. You can become a great scholar. Mukhe Sarva Shastra, all of them you can become. But if you are not grown, it won't be reflected in your understanding of yourself nor in your living. Can't own it up. Can't own it up. Even your understanding is shaky. It doesn't come with the conviction of personal validation. It doesn't come with that. Yeah. A sampradaya with will immediately know how much is there, how much is not there. Therefore, growth is important. For growth, dharmartha kama becomes necessary. Therefore, all artha kama pursuits, if you follow with dharma and karma yoga buddhi, they lead to your growth. You will come to moksha, the parama purushartha. Finished, done. Job is done. Therefore, he says, Vedya cha anya tu kalpitam. Therefore, other than this statement, other than the Upanishad, what the Veda is talking about, he is dealing with your kalpita realities. Dealing with kalpita realities. Yeah. Kalpitam don't mean imagined, okay? Don't translate kalpitam as imagined. Conceptual realities, okay? Dealing with conceptual realities. And even when in Vedanta, when you come to, this much for the first section. Then when you are coming to Vedanta per se, what are you doing? If you really know what to do, you will go to a guru, Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam, Samit Panihi, Pariksha Lokan, etc. So the student with Viveka Vairagya, etc. will go to the guru, Shrotriyam, etc. Correct? That is also kalpitam. Why? Guru is Sachidananda Swarupaha. He is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman, not Guru. Guru is a sambandha, that's what I always say. Guru is a relationship that is there. He is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. And what is the student? Idiot? No, not idiot. If the guru takes the student as idiot, he will never be able to teach. How will he be able to teach him? He has to see him as Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman, otherwise how can teaching happen? The guru is not saying, Aham Brahmasmi, and you are that. Some donkey standing there. No, he says, Tattvamas. That's the same reality you are. Therefore, Guru and Sishya are also kalpitam. You remember where we came across it? Iyam adhyasam puraskritya sarve pramana prameya vyavahara laukika vedikascha vidhi pratisheda moksha paranicha. Sounds familiar?
Yes, but
Kidhar hai?
Adhyas Bhashya.
Adhyasa Bhashyam. Yes.
Yes.
I said, okay, this class,
Yeah.
certain things I am taking for granted. Okay, even I will refer to that. But I am explaining in terms of the context. But the full development of the idea is there. For keeping this adhyasa alone in view can be a guru and student. That is why in the Gita he said, Krishna started teaching with a smile on his lips. Why? बंदा बोलता है मैं दुखी हूँ. Existential sorrow, big terms. And the Krishna looks at him and says, idiot is Sachidananda, what is he talking about? Parahasaniva Bharata, with a smile he taught. So that's where the whole thing goes. Everything is kalpita. Because Guru Sishya is a relationship, a sacred relationship. I mean, talking me personally, between me and my Guru, that is one of the most sacred relationships I've ever had. And believe me, I had a lot of varieties of different types of relationships, including relationship with a country that I am willing to die for. Put my life on the line. It's not just putting your money on the line or your this thing on the line. It's putting your life on the line. But still, I think the Guru Sishya relationship that I had with my Guru was no less sacred or no less profound. Okay? Yeah. More, one step more actually. Yeah. But that depends on people to people. What is the nature of your... That's all variables, okay? There's all variables. From a casual student to this level. There's a whole variation. To a curious person walking into a class to this. That variation I accept. I understand. And I accept. Why? Because my relationship didn't start like that. In fact, it didn't start as a guru. It started as friend, philosopher, guide. That's why when some of your kids relate to me like that and you will say, no, treat him with respect. I say, hey, doesn't matter. I also started like that, arguing with him and all that. It's okay. Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Why? It's all kalpitam anyway. That kid who's rebelling against is also nothing but Sachidananda. That liberal idiot who's criticizing the whole thing is also nothing but Sachidananda. The communist who's trying to tear the whole thing down is also nothing but Sachidananda. That doesn't mean I'll treat both the same. You see Samadarshinaha. You see what is same in everything. And you, in your functioning, you account for the variables.
This is also in the Gita, Swamiji.
Yeah. You account for the
Chapter.
variables.
Yeah. Sambaloshta Kanchana.
Yeah, all that thing comes into the picture. So that is why the whole thing is kalpitam. Even Brahman is presented as something to be known, kalpitam. That's a kalpana being made. Why? Why is that a kalpana?
It's about you.
Yeah.
It's you.
Nitya
own
upalabdhi swarupoham atma hai.
Yeah, I have to just own it
Two
up.
times I've just droned it in your hand 2 days. Nitya upalabdhi swarupaha. Nothing but I, the consciousness. By the way, this is up, okay? The recordings are up on Arshavidya Foundation channel. If those who want to hear something that you all have missed out, you can hear that. It's all put up. Took some time this time, but it's okay. Clear about this or any questions? Okay.
Swamiji,
Yeah.
can I, what I wanted to ask was, I understood the explanation. I wanted to connect the explanation in light of the question of the Purva Paksha. I mean, sometimes, I understand the explanation, but if I am told, okay, now you explain this verse, then I get confused, how do I relate and connect? So, can you just,
Because good question. What do the Purva Paksha says? Different words are used for different things, therefore there are different entities. And what is the answer? There are different words dealing with different aspects of Vyavahara. Different words do not mean different entities. It only means name, form, relationships, etc. All that is kalpitam, projected on one reality, existence alone. So that is the underlying theme behind the whole thing. The whole thing is kalpitam. There is only one reality, Sachidananda Sarupa. Therefore, what you say that there are different words used, that means different entities is not true. That is the link, that's the connection. Yeah. Yeah?
Yeah.
Commenting.
Yeah, Swamiji, when you say that you can also say like this, that it is not different objects because it does not, Atma and Brahman do not apply to the Nama, Rupa, Guna.
Exactly,
Sambandha.
yes.
It is so
Good.
we are not, yeah. And also this, when he says that it supports the existence of things, that by itself is saying that these things are not independently existent.
Yeah, that's what we covered, no? That
Yeah,
independent.
yeah.
And Atman Brahman is also used in different terms, okay? Kalpita terms it is used. When you say Atma chalega,
Yeah.
if someone died, what do you mean? Kalpita terms, no?
Yeah.
वो
Actually, चले किधर जाएगा?
Yeah.
जा ही नहीं सकता.
But it is used in Kalpita terms. That's what I want you to
Yeah.
understand. Yeah, it's used
Yeah.
in Kalpita terms.
Yeah.
Similarly, Brahman is also used in Kalpita terms. Brahman is used for Ishvara. Is used for any other thing. There are a lot of Kalpita names for Brahman. All Brahman is used in Kalpita names. Yeah. Just because you are not familiar with Sanskrit literature, you are not aware of that.
Swamiji, exactly that's where I got stuck, because I thought Atma and Brahman we use both same for Nirguna reality. Then the question of functional and Vyavahara doesn't come. But I didn't know there are different ways in which it is used. So
That is-
then the functional reality comes in. If they use Ishvara and they use Atma or Brahman, then it becomes two different. Then we can
Two
explain
different
that this is
or
when-
two standpoints?
No, in the two standpoints. One is with Upadhi and one is without Upadhi.
So can you
But
see
then
now
we are
all-
using
But can
Yeah,
you understand
so-
that Upadhi, this Nirupadi, etc. all Kalpitam?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So then when the Purva Paksha would have started with Ishvara and Brahman or something, then I would have. But now when I didn't know Brahman and Atma were used with different connotations, not only in the context of Nirguna reality.
See,
So
you all are
that was the-
forgetting what you all were 10 years ago. ये मेरा अंतरात्मा का बात है ये. Have you not used expressions like that in your life?
Yeah.
मेरा अंतरात्मा से मेरे को ये प्रेरणा आया, अंतरात्मा का प्रेरणा है मेरा.
Yes.
My this thing, the drive I got from my atma.
Yes.
You all have used these terms. Never forget what you were before. Otherwise, you'll never be able to explain this.
Yes.
If I have forgotten what an idiot I was a long time ago, if I forget that, I'll never be able to teach. Wisdom should lie lightly on you, only then it works. Why is Kalpitam anyway? है इंसान के भट भक्ति अंदाज के बाहर खुद खुदा होकर बंदा नजर आते. कौन हेल्प प्रभु पर एक सहाया.
Yeah, कमबख्त खुदा होकर
खुद खुदा होकर. हे ईश्वर तेरे बंदे हो हम, मानेंगे तेरे 10 नियम. उसको ऊपर उल्टा अनदर कल्पना करेंगे. Are you getting all that? So think about it. How much of your life is kalpitam and how much of it is based on Satyam Jnanam Anantam? In fact, everything is based on kalpitam only. And that's why the Satyam Jnanam Anantam has to be understood and brought into your life. Then with that base, you're dealing with the kalpitam. It's all fine. Whether you're a wise person or otherwise, you're dealing with the kalpita world only. One without the understanding of the real, other with the understanding of the real. That's all. Okay, but good place to stop. Okay, Om Tat Sat.
Om Tat Sat.